Hey everybody, welcome back to Study Less, Play More, and today we have a very special episode because National Book Lovers Day is coming up. National Book Lovers Day? What's that? Only the most important holiday nobody seems to care about, but that's not us going to stop helping you on how to celebrate it correctly. So, what should you be studying in 2019 on National Book Lovers Day? Well, seeing as the elections are coming up, how about politics?
Boo! Boo!
Wait, I swear it's not that bad. Besides, I might get people to vote the way you want. So the first book we're talking about is Viking Economics by George Langley. The next election seems to have a lot to do with economic policies and theories, and it seems like one that some people want full-on socialism, or what they call social democracy. So I thought I would start this off by defending some people like Bernie Sanders who want social democracy. Now for those of you flipping out that I'm not following the 12th law of learning, get both sides of the issue, that's the next book. So what does this book talk about? Well, it talks about the Nordic people who introduced a social democratic system in their societies and how they flourished under it. Now, there are a few things that might bring you some pause on there, like the fact that their populations were very socially the same. They didn't have big ranges in people, but at the same time, their economies didn't start off as well as ours did, and they have still managed to flourish. So there might be something we can learn from them. So I want to be very clear about something here. I'm not a political channel. I have no agenda on this. I'm not trying to get you to vote one way or the other. I'm here to help you learn. In this case, I'm just using politics as a tool to help you learn better, and as an example of something you should be doing. Now, I have a political side, but I'm not letting that influence the books here. I read all three of these books, and I learned something from all three of them. So now that we understand that this is not a political exercise, but an academic one, let's continue. So number 2, we have Disbunking Utopia by Namand Sandajaya. I think I butchered your name there, I'm sorry, man. And this one's a bit weird, because this guy is actually from a Scandinavian country, and he's criticizing the same system that allowed him to get an education, and going through what he thinks is wrong with it and why he believes the American system is far superior than any democratic socialism system could be. I know, that's kind of weird, right? In this book, Nina Sinimajim, wow, that is one hard name to say, is making the case that democratic socialism, like what Bernie Sanders is talking about, no longer actually exist in the Nordic countries. The reason they've become so prosperous is because they'd shifted away from that and have gone towards more of a capitalist society. And that when they were actually under democratic socialism, their whole economy and society and culture slowed down to a crawl and actually started to reverse a bit. Wow, when I wrote that, it didn't sound that dramatic. Anyway, this one's also a good read, but I told you I had 3 books, so how do I get both sides of the issue in one book?
Ha! I gotcha!
Actually, I couldn't find a book that defended the other side of this issue. As far as I can tell, this seems to be a pretty one-sided issue, even though it might be the most important issue in our political sphere right now. Please comment below if you found any book that defends it and shows how this is a good thing. The last book is Power Without Responsibility by David Skroenborg. I'm horrible with names. Shush. At least I think that's how you say it. This book is about how destructive it is when Congress delegates its power to make laws to experts. You see, this allows them to take credit for anything good the law does because, after all, I voted for that law. It made you better. But take none of the responsibility for anything that went wrong because, after all, I didn't put that particular policy in line. I wouldn't have done that to you. So essentially, politicians get to take credit for everything good the law does, but take none of the responsibility for any of the bad parts of it. Meaning it's impossible to change out people who are electing bad policies, or, well, really anything. It just circles their power around. On top of this, it allows the laws to become very confusing and change often, because the experts that they're delegating it to can change the law a lot faster than, say, everybody in Congress voting for it and then it going to the other house to be voted for there as well. Now it's, oh, I don't like this law. Boom, it's changed. Which makes it hard to do business, it makes it hard to know what the law is, it makes it very difficult to follow the law because you have to be able to keep up with what the law says. And last, but perhaps not least, it prevents the laws from being simple. And that's a very important thing, because if there's 400 pages of a law, it's often very difficult to determine, can I do this thing? Versus there's one line. Let me give you an example of this. It is wrong to take something that belongs to somebody else without asking or getting their permission first. It's a very simple law. Don't steal. But if experts had that, there'd be a, well, you're allowed to do it under these circumstances and not under this, and if this clause is in effect, then, and you see how this suddenly gets muddled. Oh yes, and you'll have to do all the paperwork. And don't worry, if you don't finish it by tomorrow, I might have changed the laws by then, so you might have to do even more paperwork. Wow, that's just evil. So there you have it, all 3 books you should be reading for National Book Lovers Day. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. And remember, study less, play more.